Lo llaman el Boogie Down, pero antes de que el mundo bailara a nuestro ritmo, intentaron silenciar el ruido. Verás, el Bronx no fue construido para ser una incubadora. Fue construido de ladrillo, hierro y la autopista Cross Bronx Expressway, atravesando nuestro corazón. Pero la creatividad no se necesita invitación. Crece en las grietas de la acera.
Hola Nueva York, me llamo Black Rose y hoy lo vamos a traer sintonizado del Boogie Down Bronx. Y quiero enseñarle a unos latinos que están en el movimiento con su propio negocio, aquí en la bodega. Estamos aquí en la bodega, en el Boogie Down Bronx. Me llamo Black Rose y estoy aquí con mi compañero, Product, que le dicen Product, pero él se llama Joseph. Dime, Joseph, ¿cómo llegaste con la idea de la bodega?
We're here in the South Bronx. La Bodega is the creative space that I came up with to become a house and a cultural safe space for creatives, for comedians, for people that, didn't have a home to harbor their creative ideas.
¿Y por qué decidiste estar aquí en el Bronx? ¿Por qué en el Boogie Down Bronx?
This is the home, this is the mecca of culture, of hip hop, of fashion. So this is my home. This is where I grew up. I grew up in the South Bronx. I grew up in the Castle Hill area. I've lived all over the Bronx. So it was important for me to build something iconic in our home that represents our culture and us. You don't see a lot of young Latin men with their own soundstage or event space. We're being gentrified. We're being culture vultured, and you don't see us controlling the narrative in any way. So it was important for me to create a staple and change the narrative and shift the paradigm back to our control.
So, lo que me estás diciendo, todo esto aquí como que es algo de parte de tu vida, como que the Chinese store, the liquor store, el newsstand y una bodega. Es verdad que adentro de la bodega hay un estudio de música para grabar música, ¿verdad?
Yep. See, this all started from, a recording studio. I had a label called X Records. I used to be an artist that went by the name of Product with a K. I had different artists, D-Lane Crystal, Frank Benz, Lorraine. I was heavily into the music business. And that was another aspect of creating the space, to give us our own home, to create music and create a hub for the label that I was running. And, things changed and I changed my focus in the avenues of business that I wanted to focus in. And it became the production space and event space that you see today.
Sí, nosotros juntos aquí hacemos un show de comedia que se llama Say Something Comedy.
That's right.
¿Qué te dio idea de llamarme a mí a decir, oye, Black Rose, vamos a hacer un show de comedia ahora?
Black Rose, first and foremost, Black Rose is an incredible, incredible talent. She was a rapper back in the day too. She's still rapping now. She dropped a couple bars not so long ago, still killing it. But she was always somebody that I loved and respected in the industry and I felt was really talented. And sometimes people just need help. Mentors came to me and they helped me and guided me in certain things and they took risks on me and, took failures as I was learning my ways. And Rose was somebody that I knew is going to be successful and I know will be, out of this world successful. And I wanted to be a part of helping that journey and creating something that we can build together to, one, give the community something beautiful, creating an environment of laughter, of joy, and, a place to have a good time. So I just believed in her and I believed in the vision that we came up with. And it's important for me to do stuff that's going to directly affect the community and help my peers in the process because we're helping each other. I've learned so much from Rose in this comedy space and doing these comedy shows and, just fine tuning our business that we're doing together. And it was worth the risk and she's an amazing partner to have.
Gracias, te quiero, manito. Él es puertorriqueño, ¿verdad? Sí.
Seguro.
Seguro. Me ha dado cuenta que ayudas también mucha gente en la comunidad, como los niños. You help the kids a lot. ¿Qué es el programa exactamente? Explícame un poco del programa de los niños que tú tienes aquí.
So we have a for-profit faction, which is La Bodega New York. We also have a non-profit faction, which is La Bodega BX, something that we intend to grow borough-wide in every borough throughout the city. So we're going to be offering after-school programs as well as a summer school program, teaching kids audio, creative writing with a therapeutic aspect to it, having therapists on staff, as well as, engineers and creative writers to guide the children, to give them a safe space to release that emotional turmoil, right? To get them out of their phones and get them into their world and create substance within their lives that isn't identified by a device, right? So we're introducing film, we're introducing audio, we're introducing creative writing. And at the end of these programs, we're putting on a concert for them to perform their audio and show their visual projects to their parents and to their fellow students and peers as well. So the nonprofit aspect is something I'm really excited about. We've done, this year we had the opportunity to do our turkey drive for the community. We stopped over on 138th Street in Brooklyn, opened up the trunks and just fed, hundreds and hundreds of families. We did a toy drive with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Big thank you to my partners, Frank Urban and Priscilla Torres, that are helping bring all of these things into fruition. And the nonprofit aspect is the most important aspect of this building to me, because it's how we truly are in our purpose and impacting the community.
No, es una cosa bella, te estoy diciendo, estoy bien orgullosa de no nada más ser tu amiga y compañera de trabajo, pero verte llevar esto a los niveles que lo has llevado. ¿Qué otras ideas vas a poner aquí? Like, what other ideas are you bringing into La Bodega?
I mean, here, the bodega is like, think of it like an open format universe. Like I built this to be endless with idea and opportunity. You can create anything in this space. So, we've discussed some hush hush projects that we're working on in the comedy space, in the film and the television space. So film and television is definitely something that I'm also very focused on. But like with any good businessman, in order to step into a business, I want to make sure the focus is dominating the industry. Anything that I do, I want the impact to be undeniable. So I'm really taking my time on what's next here and who my strategic partners are. But film and television is definitely my focus going forward. So, Nicky Jam, 50 Cent, y'all looking for partners for some,
Yo he visto una cuantas personas aquí en las redes sociales que ya vienen a usar. There's some people that have already used your location. You wanna dejarles saber un poquito de esa gente? Se puede hablar.
Of course.
Okay.
First I want to thank every single client that we've had in the space. So we've been lucky enough to have Nick Cannon's new TV show here for a season. We had Maury Povich. We had Tommy from Power. His name is Joseph. I forget his last name. We had Justina Valentine. We've had Jadakiss. We've had It's Biscuit. Woo! We've had Max B. We've had Mike Epps has been here. Jim Jones. The list kind of goes on and on when it comes to the celebrity clientele. We've had a big thank you to Damon Sharp. We've had FUBU. We did the FUBU Marvel collaboration here. We've done Hip Hop in the White House. Big thank you to JB, who is a great producer in the industry that's brought a lot of stuff to the building. Who else did we have here?
Los premios del Bronx que estaban dando aquí, habían como gente del gobernador.
Yes, we've worked with, we're in discussion with the new mayor to do something nice here that hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yo tengo que estar ahí con ese. Zoran, ese es mi amigo.
There we go. We'd love to have him. We're talking to his office now to actively have a collaboration with him and work with his administration. There's a lot of things that we're looking forward to do with his and alongside his administration. But we've had a lot of, the NYPD has done things here. A lot of charter schools have worked with us. We are very active in the community in every single aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So we welcome collaborations with anyone that is on our same agenda and wavelength with helping this community and its kids.
So, a mí me encanta el lugar. ¿Me puedes explicar un poco qué tienes aquí en la bodega? Veo unas cuantas cosas. Dime, háblame de eso.
So we have a little bit of everything. So the whole building is reflecting on my entire life, like my whole childhood. So I have a brownstone here. The brownstone address is 2307. That's a childhood home that we lost, that the bank repossessed when I was a kid. My parents split up and things like that. My mother had a house. We had a house we couldn't afford. We ended up homeless, right? So I built this house to represent, a house that no one's ever going to take from me again, right? Frank's Flat Fix, Frank, obviously, big salute to Frank Urban. My business partner was paying homage to him. That Flat Fix is from something I saw on 182nd and Jerome. I used to go to a studio over there with some people I used to do business with, and it was like my first business transaction in the music business, and it was my first real like getting my feet wet heavy. So that's paying homage to Frank and paying homage to that point in my life. That liquor store is actually designed after my childhood liquor store. Um, that's on the corner of Castle Hill and Bruckner Boulevard. And he's actually a friend of mine. Salute to that family and Thomas that runs that liquor store. It was just from my neighborhood and something I wanted to make sure I included.
Y veo los chinitos ahí, Chinese.
Right. So that Chinese store is actually named after a friend of mine named Fu Quan. His name is Fu Quan. It's a very different name. And he insisted I call it Fu Quan's for the Chinese aspect, or fruit, also known as crash. Sorry to put you out there. He was one of those staple people that helped me keep this building when I was in the process of losing it. He brought in the Damon Sharks. He brought in a lot of culture that started bringing in business that snowballed into a successful turn for us. So I had to pay homage to him. He's a good friend, a mentor, an important person in the story here. I also have the pizza shop, Justo's Pizza. Big salute to Justo. If you know La Bodega,
Justo, gracias, te queremos mucho, Justo.
Justo's the manager here. When I'm not here, he's the only one here. And that's after my favorite pizza shop, Tommy's Pizza in Broad's Neck. I grew up in Broad's Neck, some of the best pizza in New York. Y'all heard Kid Miro speak about it on Hot 97 and Complex. And big salute to Tommy. If you're a pizza person, you got to check out, Tommy's Pizza on East Tremont. The newsstand is something I brought because that's another cultural icon for me. Like, I remember going to get my coffee in the morning at a newsstand. And it was just an element that I felt was too important to leave out of this space. I want you to stand here and look around and feel like you standing in the city. So the bus, obviously, I used to take the 5 bus in the Soundview because we moved at Broad's Neck when I was a kid. And I was, in the 4th grade, going from Broad's Neck all the way to Soundview. So I used to take the 40 or the 42 to the 5 bus. So I wanted to make sure there was a bus in here because, city bus for a New York City kid was also another staple. And of course, we got the legendary Bodega. Every hood got a Bodega. So it starts here, right? This is the first thing that I built in the building. And inside the Bodega is my state-of-the-art recording studio. It is a Pro Tools HD facility that we use for our student programs to teach the creative writing and audio recording aspect of our programs. And, it's a real full city in here.
Y también veo una barbería. There's a barbershop, ¿verdad?
So it used to be a barbershop.
Era una barbería de verdad.
The DOB made me change it into a kitchen. So in order to be an event space, I had to take out my barbershop, and now that's a nice little warming kitchen. So when we do events, our caterers can work out of that space. But the exterior looks like a barbershop.
Yo sé que comenzaste como un artista, estabas tirándole a la lírica, haciendo tu música, eras product, pero has cambiado a un nivel ahora que eres dueño de esta empresa, de este lugar, y ahora tú estás viendo los artistas que están viniendo. Dime un poco de cómo tú sientes la diferencia de cuando tú eras artista, ahora ser dueño de la bodega y viendo la arte. ¿Siente que el arte está igual? Like, do you feel the art is the same?
So as far as the climate of artistry, right? You have those elite levels of, like, right now what I consider an elite level artist, like a Kalani, and people that are making music of substance that is really translating. New York City doesn't really have those artists right now. Like, I'm seeing a lot of the same things. Like, we were just discussing how Summer Jam was a moment because we had a Jay-Z, we had state property. We had a Dipset. We had so many huge icons that were birthed out of this city that had their own identities and weren't trying to be like each other. Everybody was their own identity from their own place and creating a monstrosity of, movement because of how true they were to themselves. And now music has become this blurred line of the same exact thing. Everyone is trying to be the same version of each other. They dress the same, they sound the same, their patterns are the same, their audience is the same. There is no breakout stars. There is nobody pushing the paradigm or somebody that's staying true to themselves, except with the exception of one artist that I've seen that I see is doing kind of what I'm looking for and is on the cusp of it. His name is Fergie Baby out of Harlem. And that's the only kid that I really see that's like, all right, he's really staying true to who he is and where he's from. And he's pushing boundaries with his art. But he's the only one. And I don't see it in male or females. I see the same thing. And it could be a self-promotional aspect. Maybe there is a lot of incredible artists out there that aren't just pushing through because there's so much clutter of the same. So what I would like to do is see New York start to become itself again, for people to be creative by finding themselves first instead of trying to be like everybody else that's out there. Because it was never cool to be like somebody else. Like all you people out there fighting, stealing other people's stuff. That's not original. That's not an artist.
Eso pasa por todos lados. La música, la comedia, el stand-up, me ha dado cuenta que algunas personas sí, todo es como lo mismo. Hasta yo lo veía y me hace ver algo diferente y me hace como que echarme para atrás. Ok, como que todo se ve igual. Pero, ¿qué estás trayendo tú para cambiar eso? What are you bringing that's going to change that?
I mean, everything, right? So we try to push that narrative in our programs with the kids by directly, I'm not just going to stomp my feet and say things need to change. I'm directly trying to impact these kids from those moments before they're heavily influenced, right? That's the point of targeting middle schools, elementary schools, and making them introspectively create from their personal experience. It's where we make it a point to say, we don't want you to sound like anything. We want it to be as abstract and as different as possible. If you sound like someone, we want you to do it again so you don't. Because I want to change that narrative. So my goal is to do that from the beginning of these kids' lives while creating a space that is like nothing that's ever existed. So it's showing people that that's possible. Like you don't have to be like everybody else. Take a risk, do something different, and watch the world start to wake up. Just because people don't believe in what you're doing doesn't mean that they won't one day. You have to believe in yourself first. People are taking that instant gratification. They want to just fit into what's happening instead of pushing the culture forward. Like we have to be strong enough as individuals to take that risk,
Yeah.
and not just do it superficially. Like, oh, I want to dress funky so I stand out, or I want to do this so I can stand out. No, be true to yourself. Like that's the one thing I challenge people to do. Creativity is honesty. Creating from the most honest place you can possibly come from. That's what real art is. That's the flow state. That's, where things will happen and change, but you got to believe before everybody else believes, and you got to be a risk taker.
Todo coge su tiempo. Han pasado como 10 años, right? It's been about 10 years.
More.
Más, 15, 20.
Not that much.
So, todo coge su tiempo y realmente, como te digo, has hecho un trabajo fenomenal, fenomenal. ¿Hay algo, un consejo que le quieres dar a alguien que quiera hacer lo que tú estás haciendo? Any advice for people out there wanting to do what you're doing?
Don't wait for nothing to be handed to you. You have to take action. Ideas are great. And not only do you have to take action, you have to follow through. So what people don't maintain is their focus and follow through. So you can always have an idea. Once you have it and the spark is there, you're going to be gung ho. But once weeks pass and days pass, that moment of inspiration is gone, and the reality of making the idea into reality is still a very difficult thing to do. So remain focused in your ideas and don't have plan Bs. If you want to be something, go 1000% into it until you find success. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be hardships. It's not going to be easy. And if you're not prepared to be homeless, or you're not prepared to struggle and miss meals and not be in the flyest clothes or drive the flyest cars, if you're not built for those sacrifices, go get a job. And it's just that simple. You got to be real with yourself. An angel is not coming down one day and just saying, here is everything. You know, to the minute 1.110%, you might get lucky and win the lottery, but that's not the reality for the masses out there. So you really got to just suck it up and prepare for a real hard ride, because that's what real success looks like. There's no shortcuts. There's no fast lane. Be prepared to struggle.
Sé que no es fácil comenzar un negocio y hay mucho sacrificio. Explícame un poco de los sacrificios que tú tuviste que endurar o pasar para abrir la bodega.
You know, that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, the sacrifices were real. I lived here for 2 years. Like, if I didn't go to
Viviste aquí, estaba durmiendo aquí todos.
me and my dog lived here with me too. And if I didn't go to the gym, I didn't take a shower. So I was in the best shape that I was in my entire life, because that was the only way I could bathe. Get to the shower early, work out, take a shower, brush my teeth, get myself together. That was 2 years of sacrifices. I sat here, I lived here. You know, I struggled. There was moments that I struggled with the landlord. There was moments that I struggled with the renovation. There was moments that, you know, I was going to lose this building a dozen times. The moment that the actual right before the renovation came to light, I was days away from losing the building. And, you know, I just kept focused. And to be honest, in my mindset was, this is my space. I'm never losing it. I am going to bring it to the point that you see today. And it was literally my will, my thoughts, and my focus that somehow it just manifested with all odds against me. So it really was that pure manifestation and focus of, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I did. So I ran into a million problems, especially during the construction aspect.
Explícame, porque no me puedo imaginar.
You know, for just like, I thought I was completely done with the renovation to this building. The Department of Buildings coming in doing inspections, and they look at me and they say, where's your fire alarm system? Now, this fire alarm system was over $100,000 when I thought I was completely done with the renovation of this building. And I thought it was over. You know, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to do it. But with the grace of God and, you know, amazing partners and, you know, the pure will of just getting things done, business came in, decisions were made, and we got it done. And it's just that, like I said, that will to never give up and keep going and do what's necessary, that, you know, do what's necessary in the right way to reach your goal. And the sacrifices are never going to stop. Owning a business, and once it's open, you know, you're just getting started. Getting through the stage of getting it to this point wasn't even the beginning. You know, it was like the prologue. It was like the big beginning before the beginning. Because once you open, now you got to maintain it.
Now you got to maintain, sí.
People
No es fácil.
Yeah, people think that just because you open a business, now you're going to be rich. No way. Now the bills are real. So now month after month after month after month, you have to pay these bills. And you see some of the biggest people in the world struggling to pay their bills, baby. So, you know.
Yo he visto una cuanta cosa por ahí en las redes sociales de personas que no pudieron pagar su renta.
You know.
Y cosas pasan, pero eso a ti no te pasó, gracias a Dios. El nombre, la bodega es algo bien neoyorquino. No existen bodegas, en otros sitios lo llaman supermarket, colmado, pero en Nueva York el nombre de la bodega significa un lugar que para mí, yo sé que va a ser latino, yo sé que yo voy a entrar a la bodega a encontrar el arroz y el café que le gusta a mami. y su pancito. ¿Qué te hizo llamar este lugar La Bodega? Como que, ¿por qué ese nombre? ¿Por qué no Recording Studio del Bronx? ¿Por qué llamarlo La Bodega?
And it's the reason is just like what you said,
Mhm.
because we are the one-stop shop. You go to the bodega, you could get mama's coffee, you could get toilet paper, you could get condoms, a toothbrush, you could get, oil for your car. Some bodegas got everything you need under
En la
the
bodega
sun.
se encuentra todo.
So this is exactly what I wanted to build for the culture. Like me growing up, I was a corner store kid. My story starts in the street. My story starts hustling. And by the grace of God, I was able to guide myself away from the street. And it was important for me to create a space that was like a safe space for us to hustle on. The one-stop shop that, here you can get anything and everything. And that was really my mindset on why I called it Bodega La Bodega, because I wanted to create a safe space for us. Like the bodega culturally was so important to us. Even if you wasn't a criminal or hustling, you still went to the corner store every day.
No, a cada rato yo estaba en la bodega.
That's what I'm
Yo
saying.
empacaba la comida en la bodega. I used to pack the food.
Yeah.
Y me pagaban mi tip de 2 o 3 pesos.
You see your friends, you see the girl that you like on the block, she gonna go to the store for her mom. It's just that cultural icon. It's like the heartbeat of New York City is that bodega. You know what I'm saying? Like the train is the lungs, the bodega is the heart. Like, the city is just the city. So it was important for me to bring that aspect inside, like give us a safe, controlled environment that we could still feel as at home as being on that corner store at that bodega.
Y lo siento, yo siento que estoy aquí afuera en el bloque,
You feel what I'm saying?
jangueando en la bodega, ya te saben. Y mi cafecito lo tienen allí. Bueno, Joseph, me encanta, está todo fenomenal. Quiero que le explique a la persona, cualquier persona que esté interesado en venir a usar tu negocio, nada más te tiene que tirar, explícale a la bodega en el Instagram o un email, un correo electrónico, ¿cómo se pueden comunicar ellos contigo?
So you can reach me directly. There is no assistant or AI assistant. You can email me at joseph@labodegany.com. You can follow us at our page, La Bodega NY. And those are the best ways to get me. I'm very active on email. I'm very active on Instagram. Be sure to visit www.labodegany.com as well. You can submit an email with your request for that. We do private events here. We do birthday parties, film, television, photo shoots, space rental. We are a production house as well. We're not just space. We can do everything from short films to full feature films to photo shoots. We can put on full-fledged productions for you as well. It all depends on your budget and what your needs are.
Ya saben, ya oyeron aquí a Joseph. Si necesitan un lugar donde la cultura está bien Bronx, bien boogie down y necesitan ayuda, llamen a Joseph o Prada, como te le dicen. Aquí estamos en la bodega, pero no se olviden, síganos en Hola Nueva York y me llamo Black Rose.
Hola Nueva York.
Hola Nueva York.